And the conversation we have in America, I think, is going to have a great impact on that result. We're in a globalized media. People hear what we say. It has an impact on our own policymakers. MJ Rosenberg, who is with the Israeli Policy Forum and also blogs at TPM Cafe, took note to say when David Axelrod, Obama's chief political advisor, was on Meet the Press last week, that he did not explicitly endorse the Israeli action. He said that we have a special relationship with Israel. Israel has a right to defend itself. But didn't do what the Bush administration generally does, which is a more explicit endorsement of Israel's actions and a more explicit condemnation of a Palestinian group's actions. And MJ Rosenberg took that to mean Obama is gradually repositioning America again as being the honest broker. So we can have an impactful, influential, positive influence in that region and actually seek to achieve that common ground. And the discussion that we have, the public discussion that we have, I think aids and abets that to good end. So we need to keep doing that. It's not a question of being reflexive anyway. It's not a question of simply saying Hamas fired rockets, therefore Israel's justified. It's not a question of saying, well, Israel had a blockade on Gaza, so you have to understand where Hamas is coming from. It's not about that at all. It's about getting past that to try to find where is the solution, what are the intermediate steps that could build trust towards that solution. Take, for example, I blogged about this a lot in 2006. The Bush administration had long said that we need to push for democracy in the Arab Muslim world because it would lead to peace, because democratic nations don't attack democratic nations. Now, that's clearly an overly simplistic view of global politics. But when the Palestinians had an election, and everyone was shocked that Hamas beat Fatah, the more Islamist, Hamas is an Islamist party, Fatah is a secular party, even though Fatah has always been affiliated with Yasser Arafat and was seen as very radical for so long. Now Fatah is seen as the more moderate group. When Hamas won, everyone got a little freaked out. But what happened at that point was that a split emerged in Hamas, or a split became evident to those of us outside of the Palestinian community, where those who were in elective office were making were extending some olive branches to Israel, proposing implicit recognition of Israel, because they realized, hey, if we want to stay in power here, we got to govern. We got to provide services to our people. We have to show that we can make their lives better. If we're going to be completely suffocated financially, this isn't going to work for us. But when that happened, there was no support from the Bush administration. There was no leaning on Israel to say, we want you to at least meet these guys halfway, at least give some positive indication that you recognize an olive branch has been extended and see where that might take us. It doesn't involve, all this debate about whether we should be directly negotiating with Hamas. That's totally irrelevant. Israel negotiates with Hamas already. We don't have to play that direct role. But we have to signal that we would be open to what fruits would be born from such discussions. Otherwise, no conversation or negotiation is going to be taken seriously. You have in the Wall Street Journal today, good old John Bolton, complaining that Obama is going to continue Bush's diplomacy with Iran. This is the upside-down world that neoconservatives live in. In the neoconservative land, Bush has been a soft liberal when it comes to Iran, letting the Europeans negotiate. Of course, obviously, America's not negotiating, but since Bush has endorsed vigorous European diplomacy, Europeans offered every imaginable carrot to persuade Iran to drop its nuclear program. This produced no change in Iran's strategic objective. The Obama alternative: present the Iranian regime with a clear choice by using carrots and sticks to induce Iran to give up its nuclear aspirations. What does Obama think Bush and the Europeans have been doing? That's John Bolton. Does he really think his smooth talking will achieve more than Europe's smoothest talkers? Well, that's not the point, Mr. Bolton. The point is that those conversations were not seen as very legitimate because no one really believed that Bush would actually follow through on any positive result of those negotiations. So there's no incentive for the Iranians to actually meet anybody halfway. you now have an Obama administration that comes in with a clean slate. The potential, it's not going to be necessarily immediate, but the potential to be seen as an honest broker. And so if he can achieve some progress in the Middle East, that signals to the Iranians, hey, it might be worth your while to take these carrots seriously. And the sticks are there as a reminder that if you don't take them seriously, there's going to be some consequences for you, but take the carrots seriously for once. And our conversations, I think, help add to that legitimacy to let them know that the American people would be behind such an approach. Also want to point out, Obama arrives in Washington on Sunday. On Monday, he is going to be meeting with congressional leaders, talking about the economic recovery plan. I've talked about this on several past shows, but this is going to be game time. So just as a reminder, I want to say that there's debate around how big the package should be. There's numbers like $775 billion and $850 billion that are still hanging out there unofficially. My organization, Campaign for America's Future, has consulted with economists, and we concluded that $900 billion should be the floor, not the ceiling of any such package. So, and as Paul Krugman has said, the only real concern here is that we're not going to be big enough. So we have to be very careful that in talking about this publicly, on radio, on blogs, letters to the editor, if all the public pressure is from the right, from the conservative wing, complaining about big government and the like, the pressure is going to be on Congress to water things down. So we cannot let that happen. So we need to be speaking publicly and aiding and abetting these conversations to make sure the package is big enough and making sure things are invested in good areas and not let false attacks calling good infrastructure projects pork, or taking one random project that might be a little iffy and trying to then cast aspersions on the entire $900 billion program. We cannot let that hobble these conversations, and we cannot let delay happen either, because delay serves conservative interests to make it harder for this package to impact the economy quickly. So we need to be speaking about that very much. We'll be back after the break talking food politics. What is on the organic food agenda in 2009? Talking with Jill Richardson from La Vida Locavore. This is Bill Scher for the Liberal Oasis radio show, WHMP News, Information, and the Arts. Back after this.